It's Christmas Eve and the fool is snoring peacefully in his bed at Kippy Towers. Fool! Fool! Oh, for goodness sake, wake up! Ah, who are you? I am the ghost of Christmas future, and I've come to tell you what next year will bring. No thanks, there's no need. What do you mean there's no need? Kippy's made a video with some amazing festive tarot spreads and decks, so I'm just going to watch that instead. Oh, well, isn't that just splendid? I'm sure this never happened to Dickens. It's that time of year when the lights are twinkling, the decorations are up, and everyone comes together to celebrate the season. This usually means trying to defrost a turkey in the bath, an argument over Great Aunt Marjorie's will, and a hangover that lasts for 3 days. For me, it's the time of year when people keep asking me what it's like to have a birthday on Christmas Day, to which I always reply that I've got no idea what it's like not to have a birthday on Christmas Day, so I haven't got anything to compare it to. But perhaps more than anything else, it's also a time when we start to look to the future. And what better way to do that than by having a festive chat with our wonderful little cardboard friends. So for this video, we're going to be looking at some special Christmas tarot spreads we can try out when we get a rare quiet moment. Particularly useful for when the battle over Aunt Marjorie's gold bracelet has entered its second hour and people have started throwing eggnog at each other. Along the way, I'm also going to be showing you a couple of special Christmas tarot decks that I've absolutely fallen in love with this year. So without further ado, let's get festive. Madam, would you mind telling me why you assaulted Santa Claus?
He called me a hoe 3 times!
The Yuletide Tarot Deck. Now, I wasn't sure what to expect when I ordered this deck, but I was absolutely delighted when it turned up. It's published by Llewellyn, conceived by Christopher Hughes, and illustrated by Erin O'Leary Brown. First off, I have to say it's beautifully presented in a nice sturdy box with a very comprehensive guidebook that takes you through each of the cards. It's based on the Waite Smith deck, but with a seasonal twist. If you're familiar with the Rider pack, then I think you'll adore this deck, partly because it's so well painted in that hand-drawn Victorian Christmas card style, but also because of the festive take on each of Pix's illustrations. For the Fool, we've got the child waiting for Santa at the chimney, Sinterklaas for the Hierophant, we've got Mistletoe for the lovers, which is genius, the Chariot is Santa's sleigh, the Wheel of the Year for the Wheel of Fortune. One of my favourites has got to be Justice, a little boy getting coal for Christmas because he was obviously on the naughty list. Our old friend Death is portrayed as the ghost of Christmas future, and instead of the devil we've got Krampus. The tower is the lightning tree, and the star is obviously the star on top of the Christmas tree. For Judgment we've got Santa's naughty and nice list, and we've got a maiden holding a wreath for the world. Now if you look closely you'll see some objects at her feet, and these are the minor arcana suits for this deck. For the Wands we've got the suit of Candles, which makes perfect sense for fire. For Cups we've got the suit of Good Cheer. I think there's probably going to be plenty of that happening over the next few days. For the Swords we've got the suit of Canes, and that works really well for our double-edged swords because that could be a candy cane or something used to punish. Finally, for the Pentacles we've got the suit of Gifts, so that's where we start to get a bit more materialistic. I'm just going to go through a couple that really stood out for me. For the Two of Good Cheer we've got a young couple staring longingly at each other and probably saying, "I only have ice for you." For the Three of Gifts we've got someone skillfully making a doll's house, just like the sculptor in the Waite Smith version. For the Seven of Canes we can see a scalper buying up all the stock in his local toy shop so he can sell it on at a profit. And for the Ten of Canes we've got the classic image of the pierced figure, but this time it's a snowman. This is all laid out and functions as a regular tarot deck, just like the Waite Smith, so you read it in exactly the same way, preferably by candlelight and with a glass of mulled wine. And with that in mind, let's actually put it to work. What's wrong with this snowman? I think I've offended him. He's giving me the cold shoulder. Christmas tarot spreads. Now that we've got our lovely cards, it's time to actually do a reading. To kick things off, we're going to have a look at a Christmas tree spread. This is a 6-card spread that we lay out in the shape of, you guessed it, a Christmas tree. So first of all, we've got the roots in the first position. This is all about what's grounding you right now. family, habits, obligations, or any emotional baggage that you're bringing with you into December. Next up is the gifts that you're giving, so that's your energy going outwards, what you're offering to others this season, and that can be for better or worse. In the third position is the gifts that you're receiving. That can be support, lessons, or anything unexpected that might be coming your way this year. Going up the tree, we've got the decorations. This is what you're showing to the world, the bits you've decided to hang on the outside. The question is, does it reflect what's hanging on the inside? Going over to the fifth position, we've got the tinsel. This is all about what's getting in your way and distracting you. Shiny nonsense, procrastination, or drama that looks far more important than it really is. Finally, at the top of the tree, we've got the star. This is your guiding light that's going to show you the way into the new year. Insight, clarity, or small moments of hope that illuminate the way forward. Put it all together and you should get some guidance on how to survive the festive season and beyond. Next, let's take a look at the classic 3-card past, present and future spread. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this one, but because it's Christmas, we're giving it a festive twist and going full Ebenezer Scrooge. So the first card is the Ghost of Christmas Past, and if you've read the book, you'll know that Scrooge tries his best to snuff this spirit out by shoving it under a candle extinguisher. How rude! Dickens writes, the spirit dropped beneath it so that the extinguisher covered its whole form, but though Scrooge pressed it down with all his force, he could not hide the light, which streamed from under it in an unbroken flood upon the ground. That's what this position is all about, the thing that's still haunting you. It could be a pattern, a habit, a memory, or a decision that technically belongs in the past but refuses to stay there. And the more we try to ignore it, the more it haunts us. Now, of course, this doesn't have to be negative. It could just as easily be a positive card pointing to a joyful memory or a strength you're still carrying. As ever, it's all about context, but either way, this card shows something from your past that's influencing your present. And speaking of which, next up we've got the Ghost of Christmas Present, and I'm sure we all know he's a pretty cheerful spirit. He's the one who says there is nothing in the world so irresistibly contagious as laughter and good humour. However, he's also the spirit who shows Scrooge the hardest truth of all. First he takes him to his nephew's party, and Scrooge has a great time despite himself, but later he takes him to Tiny Tim's house and says, I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. That's the present, joy and sorrow sharing the same room. So if this card isn't exactly merry and bright, that doesn't mean you're doing Christmas wrong, it just means the ghost is doing his job. And finally we've got the Ghost of Christmas Future, and yes, he's the scary one. Scrooge says, I fear you more than any spectre I have seen. Of course, this doesn't mean the spirit is evil, he just doesn't explain himself. He doesn't crack jokes or offer comfort, and he definitely doesn't soften the message. Most importantly, this ghost doesn't show Scrooge what will happen, he shows him what could happen if nothing changes. That's exactly how this card works in a reading. He just points, lets the silence do the talking, and waits for Scrooge to put the pieces together himself. And again, it's worth saying none of this has to be gloomy. These ghosts don't just show Scrooge regret, hardship and fear, they also show him laughter, kindness, generosity, and the moments where he can still choose differently. In a reading, these cards can just as easily point to happy memories worth carrying forward, a present that's rich with meaning, and a future that's really hopeful. But if you do get a scary reading, always remember there's a happy ending waiting for Scrooge at the back of the book. So let's grab our Yuletide Tarot deck and see what the spirits have got to say to us. The Ghost of Christmas Past is showing us the 10 of Gifts or the 10 of Pentacles, and that makes a lot of sense at this time of year. It's about family, home, and that sense of long-term stability. My son has just come back from university for the holidays, so it really does feel like the image of everyone under one roof again. Of course, this means the house is upside down, the fridge is permanently empty despite being full 5 minutes ago, and the washing machine is now running on a military schedule. The Ghost of Christmas Present has given us the gift of the 4 of Candles or 4 of Wands, and that's almost a literal description of Christmas Day itself. Celebration, homecoming, eating too much food, and the inevitable violent stomach cramps. And finally, the Ghost of Christmas Future is pointing us toward balance or temperance. This is very January energy, moderation, self-control, and the belief that next year we'll finally sort ourselves out. You know the drill, gym membership renewed, water bottle purchased, hedonism temporarily replaced with discipline. Of course, if you've ever been to a gym in early January, it's absolutely jam-packed. Every treadmill is occupied, people who haven't seen exercise equipment for 11 months are suddenly very committed to leg day. And then a couple of weeks later, it's like a one-horse town where they shot the horse. Put it all together and you get a perfectly balanced cycle of comfort, chaos, and wildly optimistic plans for the new year. Happy New Year! But it isn't New Year yet. Sorry, I suffer from premature congratulations. The Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot Deck. Now we're moving on to Tim Burton's wonderful movie, which I hope we've all seen. The big question being, is it a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? The consensus amongst my crowd is that it's both, so you've got a good 3-month window to enjoy this classic. Anyway, this deck is from Titan Books, the guidebook is written by Minerva Siegel, and the cards are illustrated by Abigail Larson. We're sticking with the standard format for this tarot, but the main focus is on the characters from the movie. To start off, we've got Jack Skellington with Zero running after him as the Fool, which makes perfect sense as he's the main character, just as the Fool is the main character in the regular tarot. Thank you. Don't get cocky. As we work our way through, we've got Sally for the High Priestess, Sandy Claus for the Emperor, which makes sense because the original Emperor does look a bit like Santa. There's the Mayor for the Hierophant, and some of these repeat for the later cards, so we've got Jack and Sally again for the Lovers. The emphasis here is on the connection between the archetypes in the movie and the archetypes we see in the tarot. Death is the graveyard. There's Sally mixing up a potion for temperance. The devil is obviously Oogie Boogie, as he's the main antagonist in the story. Zero's glowing nose is the star. Interestingly, the world card is kind of the world between worlds. Then we move on to the minor arcana, and we're sticking with candles for the suit of wands and presents for the suit of pentacles. But now we've got potions for the suit of cups and needles for the suit of swords. This is a slightly different idea to the Yuletide Tarot, in the sense that we don't get a complete recreation of the Waite-Smith cards. Sometimes we do, such as the Three of Needles. That's a pretty clear derivative of Pixies or the Solar Busker version, or the Five of Candles, where we've got lock, stock and barrel throttling each other. Other times we just get a visual representation of the number and the suit, so more like the Thoth or the Marseille decks. However, if you read the guidebook, the interpretations are definitely derived from the Waite-Smith deck, so this is going to function just how Pixies Tarot does. Anyway, now that we've talked about the deck, let's try it out. Jack's Identity Crisis Spread. The Nightmare Before Christmas is essentially about Jack Skellington's ongoing existential meltdown. He's the Pumpkin King, but he's bored out of his skull. He accidentally wanders into Christmas, kidnaps Santa, and he still isn't sure who he's supposed to be. He says, "Oh, somewhere deep inside of these bones, an emptiness began to grow. There's something out there far from my home, a longing that I've never known." His life looks great from the outside, but he's searching for more meaning, and I'm sure we've all been there at one time or another. So this is a simple identity-focused spread, designed to explore where you are now, what's pulling you in a new direction, and what you need to understand before you leap headfirst into kidnapping Santa Claus. We're going with a 6-card spread that we're going to arrange into an arc. The first position is the Pumpkin King. This is who we think we are, so that's kind of where we're at right now in the role we identify with. For Jack, that's the Pumpkin King. For the rest of us, it's the labels we've grown into. Next up is the emptiness. This position is about what no longer satisfies you and why. This isn't always misery, sometimes it's comfort that's gone stale. When everything is already good, there's nothing left to strive towards. Moving to the third position, we've got the door I can't ignore. This is all about what it is that's pulling you toward change. If that's a positive card, then it could be the thing that's captured your imagination. If a negative card shows up, then it can mean the pull is coming from discomfort or a need to escape. The fourth position is the blind spot. What are you missing or misunderstanding? Is enthusiasm or fear clouding your judgment? Let's consider what you might not be seeing. The fifth position is the lesson of Christmas. This is all about what needs to be integrated. The lesson here isn't about abandoning who you are, rather what needs to be absorbed or balanced so you can move forward without losing yourself. Finally, we've got the sixth position, and that's the true self. This is all about who you're becoming. The final card shows the direction you're heading if you take the journey consciously, rather than just reacting out of boredom or impulse. So now let's do a quick reading with our Nightmare Before Christmas deck and Jack Skellington's spread. In the first position, which is the Pumpkin King, we've got Oogie Boogie, or the Devil. This is an obvious one for Jack, who's become the master of portraying an evil king, but now feels like he's chained to that role and can't escape. Next up in the second position, which is the Emptiness, we've got the Seven of Potions, or Seven of Cups. This relates to Jack's longing for something new, without knowing exactly what that is. It's his imagination running in circles. In the third position, which is the door I can't ignore, we've got the Wheel of Fortune. This is where Jack's life takes a sharp left turn and he gets pulled into Christmas Town. The wheel doesn't ask if you're ready, it just spins and suddenly you're somewhere else entirely. In Jack's case, that somewhere smells like pine needles and capitalism. In the fourth position, which is the blind spot, we've got Santa Claus or the Emperor. This is what Jack doesn't realise. He assumes he can simply run Christmas by applying Halloween logic to it. The Emperor here says you can't just take command of something you haven't learnt to understand. In the fifth position, which is the lesson of Christmas, we've got the Six of Candles or the Six of Wands. This is all about what Jack can integrate from his experience. He returns victorious after defeating Oogie Boogie and realises that the people celebrate him not for what he tried to become but for who he actually is. That leads us very nicely to the last position, which is the true self. Here we've got the Ace of Presents or the Ace of Pentacles. This is the perfect closing card for Jack, who at the end of the story declares his love for Sally and starts planning next year's Halloween with renewed vigour. A perfect new beginning for the most practical of aces. Put it all together and we get a story of a pumpkin king who found Christmas, but in the end it just reminded him why he loved Halloween so much in the first place.
You know what I find ironic about being a skeleton? The most important bone is missing.
Kirby's Quest, Kirby's Quest.
So those are two fantastic Christmas tarot decks and a few festive spreads to use them on. Whether you're reading for yourself, your family, or that one relative who insists that tarot is nonsense but still wants to know if next year is going to be better. Use them wisely, but absolutely ignore them if they tell you to sit next to Uncle Cliff at dinner. You know what sprouts do to him. Anyway, I'm gearing up for another birthday, which means waking up to a barrage of messages all saying "for he was born on Christmas Day," which seems to have turned into some kind of yearly tradition amongst everyone who knows me.
Many happy returns, old bean.
Thanks, Monty. What have you got for me? Ooh, that'll do nicely. Thank you very much.
Try not to drink it all at once this time. Happy birthday!
Thank you. I see it's another expertly wrapped gift.
Surprise!
It certainly is. Who would expect to get a turnip after 5 consecutive years of getting turnips? You certainly know how to keep me guessing. So before we disappear into the mince pies and indigestion, I just want to say a genuine thank you. If you've watched, liked, commented, shared and stuck around, I really do appreciate it. This channel only exists because you guys keep showing up. So thank you for another year of curiosity, poor quality jokes and letting me ramble on about magic. I can't wait to see you all in the new year. For now, I'm going to leave you with the opening line from A Christmas Carol. Dickens said, "I have endeavoured in this ghostly little book to raise the ghost of an idea, which shall not put my readers out of humour with themselves, with each other, with the season, or with me. May it haunt their houses pleasantly, and may no one wish to lay it."
Oh, for goodness sake, he means lay it to rest.
Ah, right, of course he does. See, I told you.
From all of us at Kippy's Quest, have a wonderful Christmas. May your spreads be insightful, your decks well shuffled, and your relatives manageable. Until next year.